Labrador, fishing has always played an important role for survival. Throughout history, the Inuit have had many ways to catch and prepare fish. This video focuses mainly on fish nets and smoking fish.
My name is Nicholas Flowers, and I am from here in Hopedale, and I'm a student working with the Ugwetuk Archaeology Project. And I'm working on a net myself. My Uncle Rex had taught me not too long ago, and I figured I'd share with you today a bit about what I know about the importance of net making in Labrador. I learned how to make a net in, when was it? The year of 2016, when I was taking part in a Heritage Fair event in Goose Bay. And I learned here from my Uncle Rex Flowers, who's a net maker himself, and he was taught by my grandfather, who passed away in 1998. But back in the day, he used to make a lot of nets himself, and they are great fishermen. And my Uncle Rex still makes nets today. Most of the times, people would craft their own net needles, as shown here. These were wooden net needles made by my grandfather, George Flowers. And I know that usually net cards, I know this one right here is plexiglass, made by my Uncle Rex, but usually they would be wood. But I guess later on, when people could access better materials, they would use them. And I'm not sure about the line, what they used to use back then, but I know nowadays you just use regular net twine you can buy in the store. A traditional way to sort of camouflage nets was to boil the tree bark from, I guess it could be from any trees, mainly possibly spruce trees. And I know they used to boil it down in probably big pots of water and let it cool off. And they used to dip their nets in once they are all made and done up. They would dip the nets in and they would turn a brown color for cod and seal nets.
Alright, so when I start making my rolls on the net, I usually just place the card around here. This is the card, the net needle, and of course the net. And I just go under and up. It's sort of like knitting, it's just a repetitive action. But the main thing I find for nets is always to keep it tight so it can stay and have good posture. And I come up through two lines there and have my finger pinched until it brings up, and then I can just tighten the knot. And that's one little square I just made there, one little mesh. And in each row there's 25 squares or meshes, if you like calling it that. And it's basically just 25 knots going down each time, and you just do the same thing over and over again. Usually each time I work on the net, I do either one or two rolls and call it a day since I'm so busy. But if I wasn't busy and had nothing else to do, this would be a great pastime and a great thing to work on.
Usually good places to put out nets were handed down by the elders and like the generations before, because they're known as net berths. That's like a place where people would usually have their net. And my dad, he has a net berth in a place called Tom's Cove. And before my dad had a net there, my grandfather used to have a net there. And once my grandfather passed away, he handed it down to my dad. But before my grandfather, a man named Tom Edmonds, Denver's great-grandfather, he owned that spot basically. And there's no like laws or anything to it, but it's just sort of like a respectful thing to do. Just respect others' places where they put out nets. And Tom Edmonds, he gave that net berth to my grandfather, and like I just explained, it's been passed down. So it goes like from a long time back about net berths, and different people and different families got different places around. And I guess the places were known a long time from Inuit a long time ago, because I know in Tom's Cove, like I was just talking about, David Igloherty spotted a stone ware for fishing used by the Inuit from hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Usually their main way to do it before nets was in the wares, the stone wares they used to have in certain places that were known for fish, and they used to sort of build up like a stone wall a certain way, and at certain tides the fish used to come in, they couldn't get out, they were trapped in there, and then the Inuit used to go in with their kakiwaks and they used to spear them. But I think it's really important for you to know how to construct nets, and I think, like myself, I like to learn as much as I can before I move on to university, so I can just know how my great-grandparents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and even some of my ancestors used how to make the net and just use it. And I think my Uncle Rex is proud of me, and my grandfather would be proud of me today. And yeah, I'm proud to say I know how to craft a net.
Quite a few families had smokehouses in the community and out on the land too. At different summer places, people have smokehouse. I remember growing up, mom and dad was always smoking char and salmon in the summertime, and they would sell them locally in the community and give them away, and they were always gone right quick. No time at all, the fish were gone around the community, so everybody loves smoked trout, we used to say. Yeah. Smoked char today. Small and medium-sized char, like those there, are the best, like for smoking. They're not too heavy and they smoke quicker, and they're better to work with, better to hang up, and I say that would be the best ones, the smaller size char. Yeah. After you catch them, clean them, and then we split them like they're shown right there. Split them, and we put them in salt for about half hour in the heavy salt, and then rinse them off, and then hang them to dry for so long, maybe hour or two drying, and then after that we tie on the sticks, tie those sticks on around the front fin of the fish there, hang them up around like that in the smokehouse, and then after that we light her up and get a little bit of a fire going, not too big. And then we use blackberry sod bushes to smoke them with, put it on top, and just have like a control. You can't have the fire too hot or the fish will fall down on the flame, and it just smokes over a period of 1 to 2 days, depending how dark you want them. 1 to 2 days, I say, about that long, when the weather is good. If it's foggy, it might take 3 or 4 days, but weather like this, 2 or 3 days, 1 or 2 days is good.
Yeah, wild food is really important around here. Not only is it like traditional and important to the Inuit culture, it's important because we're so far away and we're sort of isolated from many communities and towns and cities down south, and it's hard sometimes due to delays of weather and all the conditions that can be against you in the colder months. It's hard to import food through the planes and boats and all that, so it's important to get local food, fresh food, and you can usually get a lot of it, you know, around here. Wild food, whether it be animals from on land or from the water, like seals and fish. And I guess that's another important thing about the net, you know.
Yeah, I think it's important because this traditional drying and smoking fish here in Labrador, it's always been done not only by my family, but a lot of people does it, and I think it's important to carry on the tradition in our culture. So yeah, good for young people to watch, and then they learn just like I did.